Oh no, I don't have my phone. Hello, hello, hello. I don't know if I'm live or not because Facebook, there we go. Hello and good evening, good people or good women, good beauties. I am just finishing up for my day. Uh Usually on Wednesdays, I come in ready to talk about something related to my clients. And what I mean by that is not related to them in the sense what they are specifically doing on that day, but just in general around, some of the things or tools that I use with different clients. And so today, I wanted to talk about self love. Um, I'm finishing up or closing out with a few of my clients who have been working specifically on grief and or loss related to marriage and divorce and relationship loss. And so many of them married for years and or married very briefly. And so I wanted to talk today about self-love and a little bit of love as a process. Talk about one of the gifts that I created because I have this thing I do. So first off, hello everyone. Let me know you're here because I don't have my phone, so I'm not able to actually see the comments on my phone. But if you guys will chat, I can try to see it in the Facebook on live thing. So if you're here with me, say hello because right now it just tells me I'm alone. And although I don't mind being alone, I would love to be able to share this time with you each so that we can talk about self love as a process and really kind of give you some ideas of what I do and work on with my clients. So, that being said, even if you're not here and you're watching this in the replay, the goal of this conversation today was really because most of my clients who are absolutely preparing to, the ones who are preparing to close with me, they were specifically with me after or during a traumatic relationship and or um, in the process of divorce and now are officially divorced, and we've worked sometimes to kind of handle and resolve some issues related to loving yourself again after the breakup or the trauma. And so I wanted to talk about self-love is a process, and just like that, I believe the police are right outside my door. I'm going to see if they move on. Yes, they have. All right. Hopefully everything is okay and no one's harmed. Um, but that being said, I wanted to talk about really first um, what tools you are using to understand your self worth and self love is kind of impacting your degree of self love, right? So, how you determine your worth is going to impact how you see yourself. And so, for example, if you believe that, say, your body, your shape, your education, your career, your different possessions represent your worth and your value, then becomes this level of control or lack of control that you'll have over your self love because you're putting your self, right? Love on determiners that are outside of you. And so what that means is that ultimately, if the things outside of you are not going well, feeling well, hi Brittany, thanks for joining me, are not going well or doing well, then all of a sudden your self love is then impacted around that. And so what that means is you're if you aren't the perfect weight, then somehow you don't love yourself the same. If you don't have the best career or position at your place of employment, or you don't have the best business, all of a sudden your determiners about your self-worth are actually outside of you. And so therefore, really, you really run the risk of looking at those things as valuable and equating to the value for yourself. And so, one of the first things you want to do when you're thinking about how do I love myself? What is my self love process going to look like? Is to really determine how are you defining your self worth and your self value. And if those definitions are literally outside of you, then you're more likely to constantly be doing the comparison game, to constantly be looking at what you don't have to offer, or what you don't have, or what you can't have because of what you don't add up to, right? And so, and I put that in quotes because really those factors, those outside factors like your education, your shape or your attractiveness, your career, your profession. I'm trying to think of some other things. Your success or your friendships and relationships. If everything is about what is outside of you around your self-worth, then it's going to be very difficult for you to have an actual um, independent relationship with your love, right? And so I say independent relationship, self love, self worth, all of those things first start with you. And so if all of the factors that you use to determine your worth are outside of you, then they can easily be shaken. They can easily be deterred and or destroyed by either yourself or someone else. And that becomes where your self-love might get off and shaken, right? So for example, I have a lot of younger people who I may work with, and they're like, well, I can't be lovable, or I'm not as lovable because my mom or my dad decided to leave and they're not here for me. I don't have someone in my life that loves me just for me. And so somehow that equates to me not being worthy. And then ultimately, the self love I have is defined by the love that someone else provided me or did not provide me. And so, really, you want to really first start with, how do I define my self worth? What are the key components to loving myself? And the first thing that I want to say is, you have to first know yourself. You have to get to know yourself in ways that may require you to be intimate and vulnerable, and to really challenge your beliefs, your family beliefs, your community beliefs. It may be a lot of work that has a lot to do with exploring what you really feel are your value systems and how you want then to contribute to the world and to yourself. And so I think we got to first start with, what do you believe your worth is defined, and your self-worth is defined or determined, and how it's determined. And when you can do that, you can then start to kind of think about, what is going to be my process of self-love. And so that brings me to what I did or talked about with some of my clients who were literally separation, divorce, just a long history of negative relationship with themselves. One of the things that we did was this 30-day challenge, with each of them independent within our sessions. We did 30-day challenges of how to kind of put your love into motion, how to really understand your self-worth and your self-value. And if you know me, I love creating things and putting things together. And so for every year on my birthday, I usually give my clients gifts. And so what that means is I create a gift related to what we're working on for them and individually, which means I have tons of different journals, tons of different workbooks and worksheets that I do, that I give away as gifts. And so for their birthday or for my birthday, I usually will give away some form of gift. And so I created this cool one for someone recently that I was like, I may start sharing this with everyone else. And it really is, it's this little book. I mean, it's about 80 pages, but really it's a journal that we use to go through 30 days worth of loving yourself activities. And some of the things that we talk about is just what I talked about earlier. How do you define your worth? How do you create your daily use of language to yourself, like your self talk, your affirming statements? What are you doing every single day to kind of put into motion the steps and process that you need to love yourself? And so we start with defining your self-worth and your value. And then we end, by the end of it, I don't even remember how we end. Forgive me. I think we end on defining your relationships and the boundaries and the standards within those relationships around your self-love. And so literally every single day for 30 days, we would do something, and or we're doing something, because some of them are actively doing it now, that is related to loving yourself. So one of the things that I did to join them was to do books and to read books. And so for me, it was literally reading a certain number of books that were about not just me, but also about self love and loving myself as a Black woman. And so that's an example of just one of the things that could be a part of your process. But the first thing and the most important thing is to start with, how am I defining my self worth, which equates to, in many cases, how you will be able to define your self love, just as a starter. Then, once you can determine that, you may have to knock some of those things off of their pegs, right? So, although our family and our friends have a high value in our love and our loving of them and even the world, excuse me, they cannot be the source of our self love. They have to be a part of it in some ways. They can be a part of it, but they don't have to be the source of our self love. I remember, and I can't remember who said this, but I remember this either in marriage counseling and or it was just something along the journey with people giving advice before my husband and I got married. And someone said, what you don't want to do is get so lost in only loving them that you forget to love yourself. And I think that that was such great advice, because really what it was saying was that even though you're going to love this person and you're committing for life with this person, if you get so lost in them that you lose yourself, then even that love isn't going to feel as whole and as genuine as it could. And so you really want to put in motion a way to find constant self love and love of yourself through all of your relationships and your journeys. And you got to forgive me because for some reason, I guess I've been talking too much today. Excuse me. Sorry. But we want to be able to really determine, how do I love myself wholly, even if I'm loving someone else as a partner and as a life partner in this journey. I still need to be the priority in all of those loves. So really, um, just really think about, what am I defining as my self worth, and how am I defining my self worth to determine what is really impacting your self love. And so, really, if we think about all of the outside things that most of us will put into place as important and valuable, and how our identities are wrapped up into them, our careers, our marriages, our excuse me, our friendships, our businesses, all of those things are outside of us. Would you be enough as you were if you had none of them? And if you can't say yes to that, then you need to say to yourself, there's a desire I should, or I would hope, let me say, you don't need to. I would hope that you would hear and feel that there's this desire inside of you to really commit to a process of self love, a process of determining what's great and grand about you. Like, what qualities, what talents, what things, who am I outside of the things that I may have that is worthy of the love from myself as well as others. And so that is my take on self love. Is a process. It is definitely not something that you just stop doing once you get to this like place. Like I said, we do 30 days. Usually it's towards the end of their work. I do 30 days of like self love before we kind of exit our experience. And in that self love, it really is about coming up with some concrete ways where I can demonstrate self love to myself over these next 30 days that could really work as a foundation for my work moving out. All right. Hey, Sasha. I don't know if you're still with me because I have no one with me in my sense in terms of the numbers on my live. Hey, Tracy. I don't know if I lost you as well, but I just wanted to say hi for everyone who is joining me. That is my take on self love is a process. You want to first determine how you're defining your self worth so that you can really challenge it and put in place some concrete ways that you can really love yourself and demonstrate love to yourself every single day. All right, I'm here for a couple more minutes. If you guys have any questions, I don't, even if it's not about self love, if it's about anything that you would like to talk about, I'm here for it. Let's go. Oh, so while I'm waiting on y'all questions, I can tell y'all like I love this book. So my husband was like, "Oh, you should put that journal up on your Etsy page because my little Etsy page. I never talk about it with y'all, but I sell journals that I use with my clients on that little page, and so it usually it has its own little community that kind of loves to go there and get the things that I sell. But he was like, "Oh, you should put it into a sell it," and I haven't done it yet, so I'm gonna work on putting it together because this is one of the gifts that I gave two of my clients who were literally they did some great work around trauma and separation from and divorce, and I really wanted to do a process to close out our therapy experience, and we did 30 days of self-love. And so it's cool too because I get a chance to also do it with them. And so just some of the things that are in here is setting your intention for the next 30 days, becoming aware of who you are. Like, so there's literally a little activity in here that I give them. I don't know if you can see it. It says, "Who am I?" Um, and then that "Who am I" kind of sets the tone. We have like a compliment stage. So you guys know, obviously, I do a lot of work with Black women. So all of most of my journals have representation of us in them. And so this was like an example of a day two for one of my clients. Um, and so, yeah, we have to write a love letter. I guess maybe I should put this up, but I don't have it up right now. If you guys would be interested, let me know and I'll put it up. Obviously, I don't know what it would cost because the printing is always a gift for my clients. So I usually just print out a lot of them and do it in bulk. But I can let you guys know once I finish. I don't know. If you guys are interested, let me know. And then we have some goal sheets because remember, they are leaving me. Um, and because they're leaving me, I also want them to have something that's concrete for them to go to demonstrate ways of loving themselves. So if you hear nothing else outside of my way of doing it, is that we want to first define our process of who we are related to self worth. Once we know that it clearly matches the things inside of us versus outside of us, then we want to create an actual clear process that demonstrates self love in your journey. And so for me and my clients, it's simple as these 30 days. For another person, it might be literally every day saying affirming and healthy statements about yourself and who you want to be in the world. But really find some concrete ways that demonstrate love that is not about outside factors like material things or even possessions or even things that we sometimes are like wrapped up in as self-care, which is like, oh, I want to pamper myself, I want to do this, I want to do that. Really consider, how do I determine my love without outside factors, and which ways can I demonstrate that type of love to myself on a daily basis, right? And so I offer you that as a way to get started on your process, but always understand that it is an ongoing process because there's times when I have to really lift myself up. There's times when I'm like, oh no, I don't look or feel as pretty as I normally do. But I know that on that day, I need to, instead of saying one thing I'm grateful about myself physically for, I might have to say five, right? So having very concrete ways that you can demonstrate love to yourself is just an offering that I would hope that you would accept from me to you. All right, ladies. Thank you, Sasha, for still being here with me. As always, love you. If you guys don't have any questions, I'm going to take off so I can get dressed to get ready to do my workout with T. It's also in the announcement sections if you're interested in joining us over the next month for February. She will be doing 3 classes a week. And so far, we did Monday and Tuesday. And literally this morning, I was like, oh, she kicked our butts with this cardio, kickboxing, and then weights and abs. And I think they're about 45 minutes if you can join us, but you can do what you can. If you can't do the whole 45, do 15, 20, 30 minutes. It's still good for you. The information will be in the announcement sections. And if you want to join us, that's where we'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, you guys, be well. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Okay, so now I'm seeing all of your comments. If you are still with me, give me a second. They now are popping up. I'm going to look at them real quickly and see if there's any questions. Um, apologize. This is why I hate Facebook without my phone. Um, gosh, this is sucks. Sucks, sucks, sucks. All right. How do you purchase the journal? I don't know yet. But I have an Etsy store, so most likely it will be over there. I have some courses and other things that I do that are outside of self care for Black girls that I don't try to really promote in here, just because it's really was the intention was for it to stay as a community of love and support. But I will definitely make sure I put it in the resource sheet at the top, or also put it in our comment section once I get it posted. All right. I don't see any specific questions, but know that I wish I saw these earlier because I would have said, "Hey, cousin Tamika, miss you. Missed you on Sunday. Hey, Kendra, miss you as well, but I'm glad to have seen you Sunday." And then I see, can I start a self love journey while in an unhappy relationship I'm trying to let go of? I hope you are still here with me. I'm going to answer that on behalf of all of those women who may have to stay when they know they may want to leave at some point. Yes, you can start a actual self love journey while you are with someone who is making you unhappy or in an unhappy relationship. However, you have to be very strategic and intentional. What I mean by that is that you have to really be willing to offer yourself grace and self compassion when that other person may not be, right? So, for example, you cannot have that person defined if your work on yourself is being successful or not. So, for example, you can't look for confirmation or validation from them that your self love process or practice or journey that you're starting is actually working out. You just have to accept that in this process, I'm learning to love and to really comfort and be a part of who I am. And regardless of that unhealthy portion of my life, I still deserve this. And because I deserve this, I'm going to start now. And I'm going to give you a real quick, I don't know your situation. I don't claim to know enough details to say this is going to be a guarantee. But I can tell you, if you can start that journey now, you may find that you'll find a way out of that unhealthy pattern and or relationship, because what you'll notice is that the things that were filling you up related to love and attachment are no longer as strong because you are now starting to provide them for yourself. So I would actually recommend you starting your process if you're in an unhealthy relationship. I hope you are still here to get that answer. And I would say if any of you are in an unhealthy relationship, there is always help. If the relationship is anything that is physical or emotionally abusive, you can always check out our last video from last week related to financial abuse. I put in there some links and some information around support and resources. But yes, if you are in an unhealthy relationship, please make sure you start your journey now, because it actually may help you to get the strength and the power to decide that you are worth something more. All right. I hope that is a good answer. I hope that you got it. I'm here for you, ladies. Anyone else have any questions? Oh, yes. Great. I'm so glad that you were still here. Thank you. That's awesome. Um, any other questions, ladies? I now can see the chat and I really feel bad because I usually love this is why I do this on Thursdays with Sherry and Michelle, because I don't know how to do all this chat stuff. It shows my age. But all right, you guys, I am getting ready to go get changed so that I can work it out, because that's part of my self love. And I absolutely love my time to work out and to just be at peace and quiet. If you guys are, usually I'm here every Wednesday at 6 o'clock. The only thing that prevents me sometimes from getting here at exactly 6 is my clients, because believe it or not, on Wednesday, I'm all focused on therapy hat, which means that those are my clients and they are the priority. But I want to make sure that I drop in here and drop some jewels based off of even some of the things that we worked on throughout the day. You guys just be well.